time for the ride home in ENC.
Yes! Yes! Yes!
This is your 5 o'clock drive with Patrick Johnson.
Holy mackerel!
More news, more interviews, more ECU stories than you can shake a stick at. Hey, stop shaking that stick. This is the Patrick Johnson Show.
Pirates win! Pirates win!
On 94.3 The Game.
All right, hello again, everybody, and welcome. It is Patrick Johnson. Welcoming you in for a new edition of the Patrick Johnson Show.
Do it live!
Yes, we are. Boy, are we ever. I'm very excited today about the show. Was really looking forward to it all day, and still am. And I get a chance to talk to a guy that probably for over 20 years I've talked to on the radio. And that is the great Phil Steele. Here it is. Had this in my grubby, little chubby hands since, good golly, Miss Molly, before 4th of July. It's Phil Steele's College Football 26 preview. 2 pages on every one of the FBS teams, all the conferences. We're going to talk Pirates. We're going to talk I really want to get in with Phil here on ECU's opponents, especially the first 3 non-con opponents. I want to get his read on the American, where he sees ECU stacking up. So we'll really get into a lot of that today. We will talk about the Pirates, obviously, with Phil, but instead of maybe going position by position or group by group or all of that, because I do think you get a goodly amount of that on this station. And on this show, and on IGO show, and again, from everybody talking here, you get a great, I don't know, what would you say? You get a lot of that. So you have
a good pirate report.
Understanding. You get, you kind of get your feel of that, your fee, your daily dose of that. That's what I'm looking for here. So I do want to get into, how he sees the Pirates stacking up against some of these opponents. I think that would be more interesting, at least to me. So hopefully it'll be to you. We'll talk to Phil Steele coming up in just a few minutes. So we'll get through our top 5 at 5 here. Lots to jump into, and it is an ever-evolving landscape, as we know. So we continue to roll on. Philip is here, and right now he will play the intro. Anything you want to say before we get going? We're going to do the Pirate Report here in a minute. But anything that, we'll just wait till after. Yeah, we'll wait till...
I think everything I gotta say is probably the Pirate Report or the 5 at 5.
Gotcha. All right, here he is, Philip the Ref Pilkington, getting us ready for the top 5 at 5 o'clock every day or thereabouts. It is the top 5 stories around the Pirate Nation and then the world of sports. And we put our local spin on it for you. Right now, the Pirate Report for your listening pleasure.
This may very well be our last mission. Let's make it count.
This is the Patrick Johnson Show on 94.3 The Game.
It's impossible.
Now some stories you may have heard.
Ready?
Or catch it for the first time. This is your 5 at 5 with the P-Man.
Number 1.
Alrighty, number 1, some big news in
it's
college.
The top 5 at 5, not the Pirate Report. Don't ask.
I know. I messed that up. I messed it up because I had said it.
I messed it up.
No, I know, but I screwed it up first. And then you repeated what you heard. It was the like the Mandela effect. You were doing what I did. Yeah, I screwed it up.
You know what? There's a lot going on. Everybody, there's a lot going on. There is, and I'm letting it seep into my performance, and I apologize to the listeners out there. But let's go ahead.
Alrighty, number 1, the Big Ten Conference announced Tuesday in a unanimous adoption of the conference rule to prohibit football players who have signed a professional contract, were on a professional roster at any point, or declared for the NFL draft as an underclassman without withdrawing before the date from maintaining eligibility for the athletic competition at a conference institution. The conference continues to evaluate potential rules restricting professional athletes and other sports from the conference competition. So right now, this is a football-only deal, but they are going to look at other avenues as well for their other sports.
Are you surprised that the Big Ten's doing this in football, that they're drawing this line in the sand? I'm a little surprised, to be honest with you.
Yeah, because they're always in contact or in competition with the SEC, and the SEC's not going to do it. So, if the Big 12, they seem to kind of be the ones that I thought maybe would jump into there and do this first.
Do we know for sure the SEC is not doing it? Is that
No, we can assume they're not. We don't know, but I wouldn't unless you know the SEC is doing it.
That's not my understanding. But okay, I mean, you may be right. So among the people reporting on this, Pete Thamel says Big Ten confirms that head coaches will get suspended for half the season if they play an NFL player, and there'd be institutional fines, punitive punishments. So I mean, this isn't just so we're going to waffle and maybe waver on this. No. I'm just surprised they've closed the door on players who've signed NFL contracts that are trying to come back. I really am. I mean, now they've won the last 3 championships. They're well funded. They have tremendous player acquisition budgets and evaluation of that talent, and that's why they've been so successful. And the SEC likes to say, well, they're not as deep a conference, but they are the champs, 3-time defending. And they also are, you say, well, they're top heavy, but their top is amazing. So, I mean.
Hey, what's the goal, Patrick? To win the national championship.
Win the national championship. I'm shocked. And then, so, the SEC leaders were meeting today. And, I've really not seen anything on that here in the few minutes before the show. I kind of scanned it one more time. But I do not see I don't see anything where the SEC is decided on this. Now, they may very well have, and I'm sure I'll get messages to anybody listening who knows better than me, but I just glanced again. I don't see anything on this. If let's just say you're right, though, and the SEC decides they're going to go down the similar road as the Big Ten, and they're not going to have players from the NFL come back and play a 5th year. What does LSU do? Because that seems like that's a done deal. And they're going to find a judge in Louisiana that is going to go with the state on that.
Yeah. And the other thing, Patrick, remember that last part there too, going to look at other sports in the coming days. It sounds like, speaking of LSU, you mentioned it, you were talking about it from a football standpoint because of obvious situations that have arose here in the last week or so. But what would that do to LSU's basketball team? If they end up doing this in basketball too, they wouldn't have a basketball team until they find a judge to sue the conference. But then the thing is, when you start suing the conference, that's different than suing the NCAA. The conference might say, bye.
I don't know, Pilk. I don't. We'll see what the SEC does. I'm a little surprised what they did. I really am. What do we got next?
Number two, this guy did not sign an NFL contract. A little older than out of high school for 5 years, but 47-year-old Justin Buzzard has signed with San Jose City College in San Jose, California, as a defensive end. Buzzard played high school football growing up, just played football growing up. It doesn't specify where, but thought an injury had ended his career back in the 1990s. He has become a pastor, a family man with a wife and 3 children. One of his sons showed him on social media a clip of a 60-year-old on the East Coast playing football and asked his dad when he was going to get back on the field.
I think it's great. This might be the best story. Now, San Jose College, is that what you said? City College? So it's
San Jose
JUCO?
City College, yeah, JUCO or NAIA.
Yeah.
I tried to look it up.
Yeah.
I Googled their athletics, and there was no Wikipedia page to tell me what conference it was in. And then when I was trying to look at it, you and I got put on a group text with some other news, and I got distracted.
So Buzzard, I love that name. I mean, that should be his nickname. Buzzard started training, Pilk. He contacted the coaches. He showed up. He made the team. Risk or rust, I don't know. We'll see. This is awesome to me. This is probably the best story that we've told in a long time. It really is.
Could you imagine you watch your pastor play football on Saturday, and then he's got a nice little bruise on his arm while he's giving the Sunday sermon from playing football. I mean, that's awesome.
I think, and probably not getting paid a dime. Maybe the pro, if they're going to give him NIL, he'll tithe it. How about that? Maybe that's what he'll do. He'll tithe if he is getting any NIL. And by the way, wouldn't it be great if some business out there in California decided we're going to NIL this cat and he could tithe it to the church? What a story!
Yeah,
what a beautiful
that would be
story
awesome. So quick, they are in the Coast Conference, just the Coast Conference. That is part of the that is under a statewide group called the California Community College Athletic Association. So yes, it is a JUCO.
Oh, that's cool. That's beautiful, man. What a story. You know what? And they'll have the good Lord on their side. Like Harry Carey said, the good Lord wants the Cubs to win today. The good Lord may not have any rooting interest, but he might hear. He might have here. I love the name Buzzard, and that's the real name. That's not the nickname. No, it's not the nickname. What do we got next?
Number 3.
Alrighty, number 3, we're going to take it to the PGA Tour, where they have announced yet another way, PJ. I feel like it changes every year now, how they're going to decide the Tour Championship at the end of the season. A 90-person event will be the Tour Championship. It will be a 72-hole stroke play tournament that will finalize the points and determine the season-long champion. It will be followed by a 2-week event with players, the highest players, didn't specify how many, at least the article that I'm seeing from ESPN, will play a 2-week match play tournament to determine another end-of-the-year champion.
So this all stemmed from the year that Tiger won at Eastlake, and it was his first win from coming back, and it ended up becoming it outshined the guy who actually won the PGA championship that year, or the FedEx Cup championship that year. It ended up taking all the oxygen out of it, and rightfully so. I forget who won it that year. We all know Tiger won that year. And then, of course, Tiger would go on to win the Masters a year or two after that. I mean, it was really kind of a cool story to see all that. Then Tiger imploded again, unfortunately. They've tried to revamp that to where, and so the reason Fairway Jesus, Tommy Fleetwood, was the PG or the FedEx champ last year because he won in Atlanta for his first win. And it was popular because everybody likes Fairway Jesus and Tommy Fleetwood because of the long hair, and he seems like a great guy. The people in Atlanta were truly rooting for him. One thing you could say about St. Louis this past weekend, the fans showed out. And so I think that helps the event. I don't like the idea of leaving it in Atlanta where it's so damn hot. In August. Here's the other thing. The first week will feature 8 4-man groups with 16 golfers advancing to the final week. I'm just kind of reading on some of this now.
Yeah, I've seen that's 32 guys go to this is for the stroke play or the match play side of things, by the way. This is not the stroke play, yeah.
Right. The overhaul in 28, as Pilk said, and supposedly it's going to make the postseason easier to follow and create more season-ending drama. And then from everything I kind of heard today, I believe it is going to, they say the way they're going to televise it is going to make it more compelling for television, which is ultimately what they're trying to do here. How can we make it compelling? I think you make it compelling you play it like in St. Louis this past week with the BMW, where it doesn't get the event every year, and people were excited to see Scotty Scheffler and the other golfers. Yeah. Played at places, I'm not saying, a goat track, but played at places where people maybe don't get to see these guys every year. I don't think the Atlanta crowds, sometimes they're not great. They're nothing like the crowd was in St. Louis. Nothing like the crowd was at St. Louis.
And Atlanta is one of those two where, Patrick, it's kind of a hotbed for the PGA. You got Augusta, obviously isn't too far away. You've got some tournaments in Jacksonville, other places in northern Florida where they're going throughout the cooler spring months, and these people are getting to see events. But that Midwest doesn't always get hit quite right. It gets hit like in October, but the season's over and everybody's watching football at that point anyway.
Because but here's the fact of the way they're doing it now. I mean, Scotty Scheffler has been based on the points, the FedEx Cup's top golfer. He may not win this weekend. Leads by a plenty of points going into the weekend and still may not win.
Yeah, I've always been torn about this, PJ, because like you said, they did it where like you said with the Tiger thing, where there was a tour champion and then there was the champion tournament. Then they're like, let's get away from this. So what we're going to do is we're going to have guys start at a different handicap.
Yeah,
so whoever wins the event's also going to be the champion, but you're going to have a better, chance based off your points.
But it was convoluted and it was
bad.
It was
bad.
Follow.
And then now they're doing it this way, which it's kind of weird because like once you're in, you're all at the same spot, which I don't love. But then also when you look at it, this is how tennis does the ATP Tour Finals. That's a similar sport, right? Golf to tennis. And really most sports, you show up to the championship on an even playing field. So I do get it to an extent. I don't love it because I do want a season-long champion in a way to almost kind of be the old Winston Cup format, right, in NASCAR terms, where it is a true season-long champion. But if you are going to do playoffs, I guess I don't have a problem with it. I mean, like I said, the ATP Tour, the WTA does it this way in tennis. There's the whole race to be in the top 8 throughout the whole year so you can get in and stand a chance to win. So, I don't know. I guess I have mixed feelings.
What do we got? Yeah, what do we got next? Maybe if Mull's on tomorrow, we'll talk to him about this.
Number 4.
Alrighty, number 4. Front Office Sports has reported that the NHL is wanting to tap into a thriving Sunbelt market and add a 33rd, and 34th NHL team in the coming years. A lot of reports have come out about a second team going to Texas. Obviously, Dallas is the only one now. Depending on where you read, some people are saying it's going to be Houston. Others are saying Austin. And then for a second team, they're thinking more southeast, Atlanta and Orlando were a couple of the teams or the areas thrown out there. Please not Atlanta. They're 0 for 2.
Not Phoenix?
Did I see one with, I think I saw another one that did have Phoenix. The problem is Phoenix just lost one like 3 years ago.
But so did Dallas, if I'm not mistaken. Didn't Dallas lose the Stars?
No.
Or didn't they lose a franchise?
Maybe. Let me see if they had at one point.
I could be wrong. Maybe it was Minnesota. And anyway, the point is this. Where have the last several NHL champions come from? What part of the country have they come from?
Out west.
Southeast.
No,
Southeast. The Hurricanes?
Oh, champions. Sorry, I thought you said expansion teams. My bad. Yeah,
No.
champions.
Hurricanes, Tampa Bay, Florida, hotbeds, and hotbeds for hockey, apparently. My guess would be it goes to Houston and Atlanta because they are determined to make something like this work in Atlanta, and Atlanta seems to have, at least a couple years ago, they had an ownership group that was willing to kind of take this on. The Houston thing has always been bandied about because for a while there was, before Dundon got his way, there was this whole thing of Tom Dundon's going to move the team to Texas, where he had roots, and they would go to Houston. But, if it's an expansion and they move it to Houston, it's the 4th, I believe this is still the case, it's the 4th most populous city in the country. So you would think that they would want to have, if it's not the 4th, it's in the top 5.
Yeah, I don't know. I can never remember if it's Phoenix or Houston. That's which one's 4 and which one's 5.
It's Houston. It's not even close to Phoenix. No. Phoenix is way smaller than Houston. So I mean,
maybe I'm thinking of metro areas.
Yeah, but no, I mean the whole thing though. It's
okay.
Houston is the 4th or 5th biggest in the nation. New York, LA, Chicago, and I'm almost convinced it's you. One of the we got 18 interns back there. When somebody Google city populations. But I mean the point is that's what makes sense from the standpoint of population, and if you're going to grow it in this part of in the Sun Belt part of the country, Houston makes sense. Maybe Phoenix, because they seem determined to get a team back there, and they seem determined to want to make Atlanta work. All right, I'll have a point of personal privilege here on number 5 as well. But what do we got for number 5, Pill?
Number 5, right?
Alrighty. Sad news with number 5. Dolly Parton has passed away at the age of 80. The exact cause of death has not been disclosed by the family. However, they have come out and said she had been battling health issues for the last few years. Obviously, we know we kind of knew that she had been canceling some events, really tamed down her schedule, and even some of which she, didn't show up for. I mean, not that she would ditch, but just, was unable to make it.
She canceled shows, yeah. Canceled shows, canceled Vegas residency, yeah.
It's Dallas and then Houston, by the way.
Oh, it is? Okay. Well, yeah, so top 5. So, I mean, you can't have the 5th largest city in the country without a hockey team. Come on.
Yeah.
No, I mean, you say Dolly and everybody kind of knows. And she did a lot of things, with kids and charity. Dollywood, great songwriter. Point of personal privilege here. Sadly, last night, my grandmother, Norma, passed after a brief stay in the hospital. And so when I had somebody send me this news today, it kind of hit me. Oh, yeah. Dolly Parton, 80. My grandmother, 92. Good long runs there. Good long runs by both ladies. Good ladies, too. All right. Phil Steele, when we come back, how about a little Dolly Parton to break, Pilk? If we're not doing this with radio, we ain't doing it right. Love this song. All right. R.I.P. Dolly and R.I.P. my grandmother, Norma. We'll take a timeout and come back, and the great Phil Steele will join us on the show.
You have a choice when you invest in insurance, and when you choose First State Insurance Advisors, you're working with people you can trust. Clark Stallings has deep ties in the community. His team, including Keaton Smith, Regina Asby, Phil Leyva, Max Joyner Jr., Max Joyner III, and Ginger Smith, provides knowledgeable and professional advice. First State Insurance Advisors is an independent insurance agency. They offer all types of personal insurance as well as various types for business. Call or email First State Insurance Advisors today. We want to be your trusted choice agency.
The best burgers around. Everyone loves a thick, juicy, and fresh burger. Tiebreakers in Greenville, plus the all-new Tiebreakers in Winterville. Do real burgers better than anybody. So don't just go to any burger-themed restaurant chain. It's time to break the chain and eat local. Tiebreakers. Real burgers at its best.
Everybody loves burgers.
Make every day electric on the Kawasaki Electro 20 electric balance bike. Maximize the fun with long run times, impressive top speed, and Kawasaki build quality. Easy adjustability and smooth handling make everyday riding more enjoyable. And the standard MTB type tires provide off-pavement capability. The Kawasaki Electro 20 is the electric balance bike that's built to rip. Go to Ron Ayers Motorsports, Memorial Drive north of the airport, Greenville.
Grimes Built Construction is currently building homes in Pitt and Beaufort County, and they're always looking for land to start new neighborhoods. Grimes Built Construction is a custom home builder, but also builds beautiful spec homes in all price ranges. These aren't cookie-cutter homes. A Grimes-built home has great design, character, and the extra detail you desire.
This is Chad Grimes with Grimes Built Construction. If you're in the market for a new home or if you have land for sale, give me a call, 252-717-1418.
This is a standard hold belt. You can get it at any fashion brand, department store, or Amazon. They can be nice, look good, even sometimes expensive. The downside, they're only limited to 5 holes. Not to mention these holes wear out in less than a year. So this is an Anson belt, micro-adjustable holeless belt. Instead of 5 holes 1 inch apart, we have 30 plus options spaced a 1/4 inch apart, giving you the perfect fit every time. Slide your belt through, click, click, click. That's the sound of a perfect fit. Check us out at ansonbelt.com.
Your confidence makes everything look good. You see the world in vivid color, not black and white. Swing through your neighborhood Fantastic Sam's Cut in Color and let our experienced stylists take you from everyday to extraordinary.
Fantastic Sam's hair salons are locally owned and operated. Our full-service salons are conveniently located in Goldsboro, Kinston, Greenville, Newbern, Jacksonville, and Calabash. Stop in today at Fantastic Sam's.
Beep, beep. Move over, Buttercup. We're back to the show. We're back. This is the Patrick Johnson Show on 94.3 The Game.
All right. Very excited about this next segment here. We've got the great Phil Steele. This is the College Football Preview Magazine. It is available at Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, which we have here in Greenville, or at philsteele.com. There's all kinds of great other add-ons at philsteele.com, but you can get the magazine sent to you. It'll get it out to you really, really quick. 2 pages on each FBS team. It is the preseason magazine the experts cannot do without, and it is over 370 pages chock full of goodness. We welcome Phil Steele back to the show. Let's jump in, Phil, to take advantage of our time. And we'll talk East Carolina first. We get a chance. I know you talk to all the coaches when you get ready to put the magazine together. I'm sure you talked to Blake Harrell, and we obviously have the privilege of talking to him regularly as the head coach of ECU. And I hope you enjoy talking to Blake, who's an ace of a human, as much as we do enjoy working with him and talking to him.
Yeah, he definitely is. And you mentioned it. What a job this guy's doing. Go back to 2 years ago when I had East Carolina as my number one most improved team, and it didn't look good. And then all of a sudden he took over as the head coach, and they won 4 straight games, made the record look a lot better. And then last year, I didn't expect 9 wins. But getting them to 9 wins, I thought was a solid job. Now, as you mentioned, they do lose their quarterback from last year. Caden Hauser, of course, is over at Illinois right now. What's the latest you're finding on the quarterback situation?
Still nothing, Phil. And I'll let you know as soon as I know. I'll send Phil some pirate nuggets every now and again. But, there is still not named. And where they're going to have a media availability today, but they've actually moved it to Thursday. So we'll see if they'll name somebody there. Pilk and I were talking about it, Phil, on the show yesterday. If I'm Blake Harrell, I'm not naming anybody. I'm going to the Alabama game, and I make it a mystery. I mean, Alabama's got more volunteer coaches than maybe the Pirates have coaches on staff. So make those guys work and study film for both guys. That's what I say.
Yeah, and I think when you look at him, when I talked to Coach Harrell going over the quarterbacks with him, he said he felt they can win with either Williams or Griffiths, and both guys have experience and both have started games before. So I think they've got the talent, they've got the experience, and we've seen that they can produce a solid QB. So I'm not really worried about the quarterback position. Whoever wins the job, I think they'll make the right choice.
The other thing, and this would be just to kind of get your opinion on, and we're talking to the great Phil Steele, who, of course, publishes the book The Experts Cannot Do Without, Phil Steele's College Football 26 Preview, which is out Books A Million, Barnes & Noble here in Greenville, philsteele.com. Those are the ways to get it. Don't believe any of those phony ads that have been circulating around out there because it's Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, which I know they have one over in Goldsboro, and I believe they still do, and the philsteele.com, the website where you also get a lot of other great perks. There were 3 guys. J.D. Lampley was one of them, and he's still going to fight this in court apparently. But this class of 22 5-5 decision, they had 3 guys back: Marlon Gunn, the running back; Sam Danka up front defensively, and then J.D. Lampley, who was a real good disruptor. Veteran guys, played a lot of snaps. Lampley's still trying, from what we understand, to get back on. But Phil, when you look at this 5-5, I just want to get your opinion on it. I know every year we talk to you, and it's like, the game that we love, while a lot of it's still the same, all the factors around it just almost change daily, and it's a little strange.
Yeah, it is. And I think if the Congress passes the bill that's floating through there, it'll tighten things up, give the NCAA more power. We won't have this myriad of lawsuits. Every time somebody doesn't get their way, they sue, and then they beat the NCAA on it. The good news, Patrick, is that this would be a one-time thing. In other words, if next year, I think players, if they declare that they're leaving, they'll know that they're leaving, and nobody could have a lawsuit and say, no, they can play. So the good thing is it's only a this year thing, but I think we got a wild week ahead of us to determine whether or not these NFL players are going to be eligible, not eligible. I think the Big Ten just put out a thing saying that they will not accept anybody that had the NFL, which is a good thing. I hope the other conferences follow suit, and if they get a little bit of power behind them like that, maybe we can get this thing finalized and not have the chaos that we have right now.
What's crazy, Phil, is the ACC had kind of made that decision to just not deal, NFL or not, with the class of 22. And now Bill Belichick, of all people, is saying, well, we'd consider it.
Unbelievable.
Of course,
but that's what you would expect.
Well, no, after the hype train of UNC last year and how they fell flat, I mean, I want to ask you maybe about the Tar Heels and Pack if we get time. I'm Alabama, and I think this happened while you were even in the midst of a radio interview the other day. But over the weekend, they named their starting quarterback for the year. And, Keelan Russell, highly touted, comes in, gets the assignment over Austin Mack. I wonder if not to take anything away from the Pirates, but I wonder if that opponent for Alabama was a little different. Would they have, maybe gone? Would DeBoer have gone with Russell? Or maybe would he have gone to Mack, who's the older player? I don't know. But I think the Pirates stand to have their hands full. And ultimately, I think Alabama's made the right decision. What say you on that, Phil?
Yeah, in the magazine, I projected Keelan Russell as a starting QB, but I did say, and I still feel that way, I'm comfortable with either one starting. I mean, they both have their attributes. You look at Keelan Russell, a dangerous playmaker, super high ceiling. This guy was one of the top quarterbacks coming out of high school. He can make some plays. And when you look at Austin Mack, here's a guy that's 6'6", 232, and has been in the offense for 4 years. He has been in this offense, dating all the way back to Washington, and he got his feet wet playing in the playoffs last year. So I think whoever is out there, they're going to be in good shape. But I went with Keelan Russell, and pretty pleased that he's the guy taking snaps this year. And the one thing, everybody looks at quarterback when they're making their preseason predictions, and if you have a young quarterback, you downgrade him, and if you have a veteran quarterback, you're in good shape. Well, look at last year. Julian Sayin had a hell of a year for Ohio State as a first-year starter, was in the Heisman mix. C.J. Carr for Notre Dame had a heck of a year as a first-year starter. So a lot of first-year starters can step in and do well, and I think at the end of the year, Keelan Russell will be one of the top quarterbacks in the SEC.
Yeah, absolutely. Pirates will be a dog going into that one. We'll get Phil's prediction on how he sees things shaping up in Greenville in a little bit. The great Phil Steele with us here. I do want to jump to the next opponent on the 12th for the Pirates, the Happy Appies. Appalachian State comes in on September 12th at Dowdy Ficklen Stadium. Just to kind of look ahead for Pirate Nation, we know Alabama's going to be good. We know that'll be a tough putt in Tuscaloosa. But with App State coming in, how do you see the Pirates faring in that one, and what kind of year do you have in your mind for the Mountaineers of Appalachian State?
Yeah, I've got App State getting to a bowl game this year, so I think they're going to definitely be much improved in Dowell Loggins' second game. And I know they made a bowl last year, but not legitimately. They were 5-7, and then to play in the bowl game, the benefit was they got some extra bowl practices in. But any time that you've sent your players home and then say, "Hey, wait a minute, come on back, we got a bowl game to play," that's always a tough situation, and that's what App did last year when they played Georgia Southern. But I think this year they look like a legitimate bowl team. You got Malachi Singleton at the quarterback spot. He was one of the higher-rated quarterbacks coming out of high school. He comes over from Purdue, and I think he's going to do extremely fine there. They've got Arkansas State's running back, Jacquez Cross, in there, and I look for them to do well. Now, I have East Carolina a 10-point favorite in that game. They're at home, deserve to be the favorite. I think Blake Harrell's program now in his third year there is in better shape, but I do think App's going to be a dangerous foe and one that makes a bowl game this year.
Well, and anytime you get the in-state rival factor, that also plays big. Phil Steele with us here on the Patrick Johnson Show. September 19th, it'll be a matchup against Old Dominion on the road for the Pirates. And I know in the Sun Belt, you really have high hopes for ODU this year.
Yeah, and the thing is, Ricky Ronnie's doing a hell of a job. I mean, this year they do lose a lot. They have 54 newcomers this year. They added 15 junior college players, 14 from the portal, 25 from high school, which overall isn't bad. It's not a complete portal team. And last year they led the Sun Belt with 39 sacks, and they've got a good portion of that defense back. And if you watched, Colton Joseph is a big loss going to the Big Ten, but they've got Quinn Heinickel coming in, and Heinickel's a guy that was the Sun Belt Player of the Year in one of his starts, and he's proven that he can do it with both his arms and his legs. They've got Devin Roche at the running back spot. So I think ODU is a team that's going to threaten James Madison in the conference for that Eastern crown, and Ricky Ronnie's doing a heck of a job. Now, in that game, I only have East Carolina a slight favorite. I think that's a very dangerous game. I've got East Carolina a 3-point favorite, and that's a big game for both teams, I think.
As I look at my Phil Steele magazine, Pirates have won 6 straight in the series, including 3 straight covers. That's always important. Great teams, good teams win, great teams cover. Phil Steele with us here, and we've got Phil talking his college football preview magazine. Phil, I want to get your kind of take on the American here in a moment, but before we pause here, just a quick primer. How do you see things making out this year in Raleigh with NC State, and then maybe a blurb or two on UNC? Of course, both teams are covered extensively, as everybody is in the FBS, in the Phil Steele College Football Preview magazine.
So we're talking American, or we're talking NC State, North Carolina?
Let's go with the Pac first. I want to dive in the American, but I want to allow plenty of time. So a quick blurb on the Pac and a quick blurb on Bill Belichick and the Tar Heels, since we have a lot of those audience.
All right, sounds good. NC State, I think, is a legitimate contender in the ACC this year. It's going to come out in that opener against Virginia. I like the fact they don't have to travel to Brazil. If you look at how teams have fared going overseas, that's made them a lot tougher. And so the fact they don't have that trip, I think the opening game is winnable. And when you look at their schedule, a dream schedule, they've got the quarterback and C.J. Bailey back. I think they're an ACC contender. And with North Carolina, I'll take this year's North Carolina team as about a 10 to 14 point favorite over last year's North Carolina team for this reason. Bill Belichick had all these players in the spring this year, as opposed to bringing in 30-plus players in the fall like he did last year, including his starting quarterback. I think they're going to be much more of a team this year. But the problem for North Carolina is last year they had a dream schedule and lost a couple of close games. This year they have a brutal schedule, so they may not improve their record very much, but I would think this year's team's about 10 points better than last year's squad.
The great Phil Steele. Good stuff there, Phil. All right, we're going to have him hold on through the break. We're going to take one here for you. When we come back, we'll dive into the American and how Phil sees the Pirates this year playing out in the American Conference. It is the Patrick Johnson Show. The great Phil Steele with us here on the telephone this afternoon on 94.3 The Game and the IBX Media app.
This is about you, your family, and the health of all who live in Eastern North Carolina. This is about the transformation of a health system into something more powerful and more human, about creating new ways to treat disease and keep you well. This is about ECU Health, which is to say, it's really all about you. ECU Health. Minds, hearts, purpose.
Make every day electric on the Kawasaki Electro 20 electric balance bike. Maximize the fun with long run times, impressive top speed, and Kawasaki build quality. Easy adjustability and smooth handling make everyday riding more enjoyable. And the standard MTB type tires provide off-pavement capability. The Kawasaki Electro 20 is the electric balance bike that's built to rip. Go to Ron Ayers Motorsports, Memorial Drive north of the airport, Greenville.
Visit Larry's Steakhouse for a tender, hand-cut, certified Angus ribeye. Other entrees include perfectly seasoned pork chops, chicken, or seafood favorites like shrimp, tuna, and salmon. Complement your meal with Larry's fresh 20-plus item salad bar, or enjoy it as an all-you-can-eat entree. Daily rotating favorites include meatloaf, chicken pastry, hamburger steak, spaghetti, pork chops, and more, all complemented with your favorite country sides. Whether it's for lunch, dinner, or our Sunday brunch, remember to support and eat local. Larry's Steakhouse.
Daughtridge Gas and Oil has been your dependable propane supplier for 95 years. Their trained technicians can service and properly install all your propane and natural gas appliances. Plus, Daughtridge Gas and Oil is your backyard expert with fire pits, grills, smokers, and more, including quality outdoor furniture at their Greenville Patio and Hearth Shop at 1901 Charles Boulevard. Go by and see the knowledgeable staff at Daughtridge Gas and Oil for propane delivery or call 756-1345.
Acre Station Meat Farm, along with Lane Angus Beef, bring you Farm to Fork Beef.
Stock your freezers now with affordable beef boxes, just in time for the grilling season.
Farm to Fork Beef brings quality local beef to your family. From your traditional butcher shop, Acre Station Meat Farm. Come on down to Acre Station Meat Farm and find out why we're #1 in fresh cuts and friendly service.
Acre Station Meat Farm, Highway 32 North, Pinetown.
Your future is full of possibilities, and Pitt Community College can help you explore every option. You can earn a degree, learn a trade, transfer to a university, or launch a new career. We offer the support you need to succeed with flexible schedules, affordable tuition, and programs designed for the real world. Your path, your future, your college. Pitt Community College. Register now.
Back to the Patrick Johnson Show on 94.3 The Game.
Welcome back. We got a jam-packed show, so let's get started.
Deep breaths. Here we go.
Phil Steele, and you can get his preseason magazine. It's out now. Phil Steele's 26 college football preview magazine, over 370 pages, 2 pages on each team, lots of great information. And we're going to talk the American Conference with Phil Steele. The Pirates, Phil, avoid Navy, UTSA, and Tulane this year. So from that standpoint, favorable for East Carolina, who has some hopes of getting to the American Championship game. With that said, how do you kind of see the American stacking up this year?
Yeah, and last year the American was a super strong conference, but if you look at the top teams last year, teams like Tulane, UCF, North Texas, they lost a ton to the transfer portal. So I think it sort of evens out the playing field. A team like Navy, which doesn't lose players to the transfer portal, they don't get any, but they don't lose any either. Right, they actually have one of their most experienced teams coming into the season this year. Normally the service academies are like number 85. This year, Navy's number 15 on my experience chart. And when I talked to Coach Newberry, he got a quiet confidence to him, like something special is going to happen this year. Frankly, I'm surprised Navy's over-under win total for the year in Vegas is 7.5 when they've won 10 and 11 games the last 2 years. I think that, to me, they're my favorite to not only win the American, but also to get to the playoff spot. But the main contenders, I think, this year, UTSA with Jeff Traylor. And, you know, last year they lost a ton to the portal on defense. This year they retained more guys. On offense, they bring back a guy like Brandon High, who was a late portal loss last year to Cal. They've got Owen McCown, a quarterback, who should be 100% healthy this year. Remember last year, he missed a lot of practice time. He had postseason surgery. He'll be fine. UTSA, a clear top contender to Navy, and they get Navy at home, which is big. And then when you look at Tulane, Will Hall, you know, all the NIL money that Tulane has, they've got a pretty good roster overall, and they have a good chance of contending for the crown. The other main contender, I think, in the American is East Carolina. So I think those 4 teams that are all at the top. And you made a great point, Patrick. Avoiding the other 3 is should result in a lot of wins.
Yeah, Pirates do not get Navy, UTSA, or Tulane this year, and that could certainly be a factor. East Carolina does have a trip to Memphis on their schedule, and USF the first Friday in November. And here's why I bring those 2 programs up, Phil. Navy and USF have both committed to spending F or P4 level money, you know, in player acquisition. In other words, the $20+ million. You know, and in USF's case, they've put a lot of that in football. What kind of rosters do you feel like the Tigers with the new coach and USF, the Bulls with the new coach, have been able to construct?
You know, I do like the talent that both teams have, no doubt about it. But both teams also have first-year head coaches and a ton of new players. You look at Memphis, they have 71 new players this year. Cool. That's going to be interesting to see how that shakes out. And with USF, they also have a ton of new players, and as mentioned, a first-time head coach. So there's a lot of change, I think, for both teams. And while both were top-notch last year, I think both maybe take a step back. Now, Memphis tailed off down the stretch last year. You know, once the Silverfield rumors popped up, all of a sudden they lost their last 3 games of the regular season and lost the bowl game. So they were much better than the 8-5 record. They were an 8-1 team contending in the American. The rumors popped up, and I think that had an effect. Plus, they lost some close games by 6 to Tulane, by 4 to East Carolina for getting blown out in the last 2. But I think I've got both of those in the middle of the pack this year. I don't think either rates as a contender just because there's so much change. Memphis is 123 on my experience chart. South Florida, number 95.
Great point. You know, the East Carolina game was a game where the Pirates rallied, and I really do think how many times have we seen it, Phil? With the Silverfield, you know, obviously feelers were being put in directions one way or the other, possibly both directions. And he inevitably moves on. But how many times do you see that a team just unravels when the coaching rumors start to swirl? I mean, that's classic Memphis last year, and Silverfield had done a fantastic job at Memphis, and a program that was dormant over a lot of years.
Yeah, another thing that happens in this transfer portal era, Patrick, is that if there's coaches rumors that, hey, the coach might leave, all of a sudden the players are like, hey, let's put out some feelers and see where we're going to go next year. And so all of a sudden there's a major distraction now in the transfer portal era. I had one coach tell me 2 years ago, Patrick, that his starting quarterback during a bye week went on a portal visit, and naturally didn't tell the staff, said he was going back home, but actually ended up going on a portal visit and then ended up signing at that school. So it's amazing what happens at the end of the year with some of these portal kids.
The Pirates and Phil Steele says could contend in the American. As we sit here right now on the 25th of August, Phil, kind of forecast ECU season, what you're kind of planning this year for the Pirates. Win total, how many times are they favored at all?
Yeah, I'm going to call for a loss at Alabama in the opener, Patrick, believe it or not. So I've got Alabama favored in that one.
Easy on that limb, Phil. Easy on that limb.
But the only other two games this year which I have an underdog, and they're slight underdogs, are at Memphis, because Memphis is so good at home, and it'll be mid-season. They'll have time to get together as a team, and Charles Huff has done that before. And then at Army, late in the year. Army's coming into that one off a bye, which is a nice advantage to have late in the year. Meanwhile, East Carolina is playing a seventh straight week, having to prepare for the option. Those are two pretty tough tests. But, most of my 9 sets of power ratings call for East Carolina to go 7-1 potentially in the American Conference. I'm looking at 6-2, 7-1. I'm looking right now, if you told me to pick a record, I would go 9-3 on the season, 6-2 in the American Conference.
Yeah, I think a lot of Pirate fans would be pleased with that. And if you're in the mix for being able to play in the American Championship game, I think that's really one of the things you would expect this year. With the playoffs, Phil, what do you got as we wrap things up here with the great Phil Steele? Don't forget, philsteele.com, philsteele.com. Phil Steele's college football preview magazine for 2026 out now. And you could also get it at Barnes & Noble. Got one here in Greenville also. Books A Million. Phil, give me your playoffs. Who do you see making it this year into the playoff?
Yeah, and what I'm doing is out of the American, I am calling for Navy to get there, which is I don't think I've ever forecast a service academy to make a playoff before, and it would be the first one. And I think Navy does have that chance of actually getting to the playoff. If they're the American champ, their lone loss on the year is to Notre Dame. I think they have a great shot at getting there. Now, for the other ones out of the ACC, I've got Miami of Florida making it. I think it might be a Captain One like it was last year. I think the other main contenders in the ACC would be SMU. They've got 2 rough road games to start the year, and that's going to determine whether they're a playoff team or not. They have to play at Louisville, at Florida State. And then I've got Clemson up there, and I also have Louisville up there. So all 3 of those teams are contenders for that other spot, but I think if they lose the ACC title game to Miami, which would give Miami its first ever ACC title. Hard to believe since they joined that league way back, in 2006, something like that. So I've got Miami coming out of the ACC. Out of the Big 12, I got Texas Tech. A lot of folks have asked me, hey, Brendan Sorsby's not there. How does that change your mind? Actually, I was 90% certain that Brandon Sorsby wasn't going to play. So when I wrote the magazine, I did list him there just because I didn't want him on the field and with the possibility of playing and not being in the magazine. But in my head, I had 90% chance he wasn't going to play. And Texas Tech's going to be favored in every game. Toughest 2 road games are at Baylor, at Cincinnati. I think an 11-win season or a 12-win season, very possible. And when I talked to Coach McGuire, his main thing was, how are we going to overcome that bye week? That bye week really threw us off. We had to sit out 3 weeks. The opponent played last week. We got shut out. I got to overcome the bye week. He was talking to FCS coaches to see how to overcome it. So those are the 2 there. I'm going to go with 4 out of the SEC. Georgia and Texas are definites. I'm going to go with Alabama and Oklahoma as the other 2. And I know everybody's down on Alabama. They were picked 6 by the SEC media. But I think Alabama with Keelan Russell and company, it's DeBoer's 3rd year. They're going to be much better than expected. They are my number 1 surprise team, or a non-top 10 team. that I think makes the playoff and can make a run once they make the playoff. Now, the Big Ten, I'm going to go with 4 teams also. I'm going to go with the big 3 everybody's talking about, and deservedly so. Ohio State, best offense in the country. Indiana, Coach Cignetti always has a great team, and I've got them favored in 11 games in a toss-up game when they host Ohio State, so should be in the Big Ten title game again. Then Oregon, maybe the most talented team out there, those 3. And then my dark horse in the Big Ten is USC. Lincoln Riley told me it's his best defense he's had. They got Maeva back at quarterback. They've got the offensive line, which are rated number 5 in the country. They also host Oregon and host Ohio State. And they were 7-0 at home last year. They gave Oregon a lot closer game than the final score would indicate in Autzen last year. So those would be my 12 playoff teams. 4 out of the Big Ten, 4 out of the SEC, 1 out of the ACC, 1 out of the Big 12, and Navy.
Hey, Phil, always great to catch up with you, my friend. Folks, don't forget, philsteele.com. Become a Phil Steele Plus member. All kinds of great stuff there. Page 50 of his magazine to check that out. But if you've not picked up the magazine, you need to do it. philsteele.com, Barnes & Noble, Books A Million. Phil, enjoy the season.
I appreciate that, Patrick. And by the way, in my head, I'm counting 11 as I told you that. Don't forget about Notre Dame. Notre Dame's my pick for number 1. And I was thinking conferences, and for some reason that slipped my head. It slipped my mind.
Notre Dame should be in a well, that's a whole other story for another time. We'll discuss that. It's not going to happen
now.
I
Patrick.
don't think, it never happens, I don't think.
Yeah, always great talking to you, Patrick. I look forward to this. And I was wondering all summer, I'm like, where's my call from Patrick? I haven't talked to him all year.
Well, we got together. Better late than never. Thank you, Phil.
All right, have a good one, Patrick. Thank you.
Yeah, you too. There he goes, Phil Steele. There's the magazine. Barnes & Noble, philsteele.com. Check it out. All right, we'll be back to wrap things up, including some late breaking ahead of the SEC president's meetings.
Power of savings is yours at Greenville Toyota with powerful deals on our huge selection of new Toyotas, like a Camry, $229 a month, or the all-new RAV4, $279. Don't miss the power of savings at Greenville Toyota.
Your confidence makes everything look good. You see the world in vivid color, not black and white. Swing through your neighborhood Fantastic Sam's cut in color. And let our experienced stylists take you from everyday to extraordinary.
Fantastic Sam's hair salons are locally owned and operated. Our full-service salons are conveniently located in Goldsboro, Kinston, Greenville, New Bern, Jacksonville, and Calabash. Stop in today at Fantastic Sam's, where the possibilities are endless.
Healthwise Pharmacy rounds the bases with all of your infusion, retail, compounding, and medical equipment needs. Locally owned and operated by pharmacist Marcy Parker, Healthwise has grown to be your most trusted provider for infusion services. Currently providing in-home or on-site infusions in North Carolina, South Carolina, and Virginia. Visit Healthwise Pharmacy at 615B South Memorial Drive or call 252-295-0059 to speak to a patient service representative to find the option that best suits your needs.
Visit Larry's Steakhouse for a tender, hand-cut certified Angus ribeye. Other entrees include perfectly seasoned pork chops, chicken, or seafood favorites like shrimp, tuna, and salmon. Complement your meal with Larry's fresh 20-plus item salad bar, or enjoy it as an all-you-can-eat entree. Daily rotating favorites include meatloaf, chicken pastry, hamburger steak, spaghetti, pork chops, and more, all complemented with your favorite country sides. Whether it's for lunch, dinner, or our Sunday brunch, remember to support and eat local. Larry's Steakhouse.
Make every day electric on the Kawasaki Electro 20 electric balance bike. Maximize the fun with long run times, impressive top speed, and Kawasaki build quality. Easy adjustability and smooth handling make everyday riding more enjoyable. And the standard MTB type tires provide off-pavement capability. The Kawasaki Electro 20 is the electric balance bike that's built to rip. Go to Ron Ayers Motorsports, Memorial Drive north of the airport, Greenville.
The hunting and fishing event of the summer comes to the Greenville Convention Center, July 11th and 12th, bringing together the best hunting and fishing vendors, outfitters, and fishing experts, all under one roof. Special free events, including a mountain trout pond, indoor archery range, offshore fishing experience, interactive duck blind, and free seminars. Don't miss it. The Mid-Atlantic Hunting and Fishing Expo is July 11th and 12th.
With new Toyota trucks from $259 a month, you've got the power of savings at Greenville Toyota. Drive Tacoma's $259 a month or Tundra's only $399 a month at Greenville Toyota, where our volume saves you money.
And now, the stunning conclusion.
Why is everyone screaming?
On 94.3 The Game.
All right. Some late breaking out of various outlets. Yahoo reporting that the SEC presidents are expected to direct ADs against accepting pro players under threat of penalty. More from the SEC ahead of this week's presidents' meetings. Chancellors and ADs also meeting there in Birmingham. On 3 reporting that from one SEC president, it's a mockery if we allow something like this to happen. Another league president, when asked if there would be enough pressure on the rest of the league to force LSU to stand down, responded, "We shall see, but if we can't enforce our own rules, it only spirals downward from here." And one SEC AD remarked that if LSU plays the former Ole Miss student athletes, either one of them, the Tigers should be disqualified from the SEC season or pay a $1 million fine. And part of On3's reporting indicates LSU reportedly has no intention for backing down on the stance, with some believing that the SEC were to penalize LSU, it would provide the school with grounds for a lawsuit against its own league. Kind of what we talked about. Wow. All right. Action-packed day. It's the most accurate magazine in the last 31 years. Pick it up. Phil Steele, college football preview. PhilSteele.com or Barnes & Noble Books A Million. Thanks to him. Thanks to Pilk as well, and all of the folks behind the scenes. See you in the morning on Talk of the Town, and then back here for the Patrick Johnson Show live tomorrow at 5.